Howdy, everybody. I've been wanting to do a spaghetti western top 10 for some time now, but that's always a tricky prospect since the films that easily occupy the top five spots are all by the same director, Sergio Leone. I am, of course, talking about Fistful of Dollars, For a Few Dollars More, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Once Upon a Time in the West, and Duck-You-Sucker. The Leone films, however, are the best known and have been discussed to death in books, film journals, documentaries, you name it. They're easily the most accessible spaghetti westerns and by far the ones that have been seen by the largest audience. To such an extent that you'd think that they're the only Italian westerns we're seeing, and that is far from the truth. But you got me to help you out here, and well, what can I say? Whenever somebody asks me where to start with a subgenre, I always tell them watch the Leone films first, then check these out, and I proceed to go down my list of personal favorites. So here we go, my top 10 list of the best spaghetti westerns not by Sergio Leone. Number 1, The Great Silence. Sergio Corbucci's dark, brooding masterpiece casts Jean-Louis Trintignant as Silence, a mute gunfighter who hunts bounty hunters. Klaus Kinski gives a chilling, uncharacteristically restrained performance as the psychopathic bounty hunter Loco, who preys on the weak and vulnerable. Set against a stark winter landscape, it's a moody, melancholy meditation on the idea of the hero itself and the qualities that define true ones. Bold, boundary-breaking, simply unforgettable. With stunning winter cinematography matched with Ennio Morricone's haunting score, The Great Silence isn't just a great western, it's great cinema. A little piece of trivia. The movie was produced by 20th Century Fox, but studio head Darryl F. Zanuck was so unhappy with the shocking, untraditional ending that he had Corbucci go and shoot a alternate, more conventional ending. But for Corbucci, that original ending was the whole point of the movie. So he deliberately made the new ending comically absurd and completely unusable. Zanuck was so pissed, he refused to give the movie an American release. It's included on both the Fantoma DVD and most of the Blu-ray releases, so make sure you do not miss that. It is a pisser.
Crede di rimettere a posto il mondo con la pistola.
Un giorno potreste incontrare uno più svelto di voi. La legge dice che li vuole vivi o morti, ma vivi non li prendete mai, scommetto.
Portarseli appresso vivi, Coste. È gente contro Dio, contro il genere umano, contro la morale, contro l'ordine costituito. Ucciderli è un'opera buona, credetemi. Credo proprio che il giorno del divertimento sia arrivato.
A century ago, on the low hills along the border between the southern states and turbulent Mexico, a mystery man appeared. A man with a sad, impenetrable face.
Number 2, Django. The movie that launched 1,000 ripoffs. Corbucci had his first big hit with this savage saga. Dirtier, meaner, nastier, somehow even more grim and apocalyptic than Leone's Fistful of Dollars. Franco Nero appears as the titular hero, a spectral figure dragging a coffin behind him through the muddy streets of a desolate town, the battleground between a gang of Ku Klux Klansmen garbed in red hoods and a rival gang of Mexican banditos. Relentlessly bleak and violent, Django's most infamous sequence of a priest having his ear sliced off was nicked by Quentin Tarantino for Reservoir Dogs. If Fistful of Dollars was considered shockingly violent, Django must have looked like a full-on splatter movie when it was first released. What makes Django so special is the unexpected directions it takes with its inscrutable hero. Nero is pitch perfect as the sinister man in black, a figure that goes from sinister to cynical to pathetic, and ultimately, heroically tragic. Seldom seen in the United States until it finally got a DVD release in the early 2000s, Django is absolutely essential viewing for anyone interested in the spaghetti western subgenre.
Too bad, Maria.
Django, an audacious man of action, capable of a tender, hopeless love which could only last a day, but a day which was worth all eternity.
I'm glad I made you feel like a real woman. Very glad. I mean that.
Django, a new, ruthless, violent film. Featuring a great new star, Franco Nero, and a great supporting cast.
Sun will be shining.
Number 3, Sabata. Gianfranco Parolini had a big hit with Sartana, who is the second most ripped-off character in spaghetti westerns after Django. But he had a falling out with the producer before they could make the first sequel, so what did he do? He brought in Lee Van Cleef to stand in for Gianni Garco and changed the character's name to Sabata. Otherwise, it's pretty much the exact same character. A black-cloaked, mysterious gambler / gunslinger and thief who preys on the wicked and powerful. Funded by British production company United Artists, Parolini had a much bigger budget to work with on this, and boy did he ever put it to use. Featuring tense standoffs, a plot full of double and triple crossings, and an epic climax, Sabata is one of the most purely entertaining films in the subgenre. Particularly memorable is William Berger as Banjo, a hippie troubadour who dresses like a gypsy and packs a sawed-off repeating rifle inside his instrument. For just straight-up escapist entertainment, Sabata is pretty hard to beat. Number 4, Blind Man. Produced by the Beatles manager Alan Klein and co-starring Ringo Starr, this is an absolutely ingenious take on the Japanese film series about Zatoichi, the blind swordsman. In those films, blindness is like a superpower for Zatoichi, heightening all of his senses to razor-sharp precision, making him a lethal enemy. Blind Man turns that idea on its head. The hero's blindness is treated as a massive handicap, and he has to rely on his wits, dirty tricks, and a seeing eye horse to survive. Tony Anthony gives a wonderfully subdued performance as the titular hero, who has been contracted to transport 50 European mail-order brides to lonely miners. After his backstabbing business partner sells the women to a Mexican bandit and a sadistic madam, Blind Man has to use his ruthless cunning to get them back. Directed with panache by Fernando Baldi and with a memorable sitar-heavy score by Stelvio Cipriani, Blind Man is an underrated treasure. Check it out.
Stole 50 women that belong to you. Tony Anthony, Ringo Starr, Blind Man.
Number 5, Day of Anger. Lee Van Cleef and the great Giuliano Gemma face off in this classic spaghetti. Gemma plays the town's Omega dog, who sustains his threadbare existence by cleaning toilets. A fitting job, given that everybody in this town seems to shit on him. all save for a kind old tramp that he shares a barn with. Enter Lee Van Cleef's Talby, a traveling gunfighter who sees promise in the young man and trains him to be his apprentice. Soon, he's using the boy as muscle to take over the town. Far from the mile-a-minute pace of Sabata, Day of Anger takes its time to really flesh out its characters and give them an unusual amount of nuance for this type of film. You understand and sympathize with why Jaime's character turns mean, given his prior treatment by the townsfolk. But eventually, he comes to the realization that there's a big difference between what you can do and what you should do. Director Tonino Valeri would go on to direct other classics like The Price of Power, also starring Jaime, and My Name is Nobody with Terrence Hill and Henry Fonda, but I still think that this is his masterpiece. Number 6, The Mercenary. Sergio Corbucci and Franco Nero joined forces again, this time to tell a story set against the backdrop of the Mexican Revolution. Nero, very unhappy with the atrocious dubbing in the English language release of Django, had been very eager to play a European immigrant in his next Western, so that his thick accent would make perfect sense within the context of the film. Here he plays Sergej Kowalski, also known as the Polak, a Polish-born mercenary who sees a major money-making opportunity in the war zone. Tony Musante plays a double-crossing revolutionary, while Jack Palance absolutely steals the movie as a sadistic gay gun-for-hire who aims to kill both of them to get his hands on a mountain of silver. With a rousing score by Ennio Morricone, great action sequences, and that cast, it is easy to see why The Mercenary is a favorite amongst fans of the spaghetti western subgenre.
The sun at his back, a gun at his side, a town at his mercy.
¡Vamos a matar, compañeros!
Number 7, Compañeros. Compañeros is pretty much a remake of Corbucci's previous film, The Mercenary, but it's definitely not an unwelcome one. This time Franco Nero is an arms dealer named the Swede, and paired with Thomas Milian as a Mexican peon who finds himself reluctantly drawn into the Mexican Revolution. Also returning is Jack Palance, this time chewing up the scenery as a one-handed, pot-smoking bounty hunter with a sadistic streak. There's not much new here, but that's okay. Compañeros is just plain great entertainment. Highly recommended. Number 8, And God Said to Cain. Journeyman filmmaker and special effects whiz Antonio Margheriti directed this fine entry in the horror spaghetti sub-genre. The always intense Klaus Kinski plays Gary Hamilton, who at the beginning of the film is released from prison after 10 years of hard labor breaking rocks. And he's only got one thing on his mind: revenge against the double-crossing girlfriend and partner in crime who put him there in the first place. One look at Kinski's eyes and you get it. They are screwed. His ex and his old buddy are defended by a literal army of hired guns, but when Kinski uses a tunnel system beneath the town, you know their numbers ain't gonna do him a damn bit of good. Dripping with gothic atmosphere, this one feels more like a Roger Corman Poe movie than a traditional Western. There are other horror spaghettis out there: Django the Bastard, Django Kill If You Live Shoot, Cutthroats 9, but I've always thought that this is really the best realized of that bunch.
Deep wide river of temptation, there's liberation from all the trials and woes, from blood and sand. On that morning, you'll see what no man has seen. You'll face the judge. You'll face the judge and he won't be. You'll face the judge and he won't be.
Number 9, Death Rides a Horse. Death Rides a Horse opens like a horror film, with a young boy watching the savage murder of his family at the hands of a gang of sadistic outlaws. Curiously, one of the outlaws actually saves the boy from the burning house, unbeknownst to his comrades. Flash forward 15 years, and that boy is now a man, played by John Philip Law, the sheriff of a small town who forms a shaky alliance with ex-con Lee Van Cleef to hunt the gang down. Once again, we have Van Cleef in the role of the old dog teaching the new dog. But that's where the similarities to Day of Vengeance end. The relationship between the older and younger man is deftly handled, and there is real chemistry between Van Cleef and Law. With a tight script by Luciano Vincenzoni, who had previously written For a Few Dollars More and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly for Leone, and graced with another of Morricone's magnificent scores. Death Rides a Horse has all the ingredients to make a classic spaghetti western, and it delivers just that. This is a dark, ultra-violent film that deftly avoids becoming grim and humorless, and it is well worth your time. Number 10, Keoma. Regarded by critics and fans as the last of the great spaghetti westerns, Keoma was the brainchild of actor-turned-screenwriter Luigi Montefiore and director Enzo Castellari, along with Franco Nero, who has freely admitted that the film was made without a script. Normally, spaghetti westerns made without scripts stand out like a sore thumb. Think long scenes with little or no dialogue. But clearly, something magical happened here. Nero plays a half-breed Indian and Civil War veteran who returns home to find that his villainous half-brothers are working as hired goons for an ex-Confederate raider played by Donald O'Brien, who is taking advantage of a plague to oppress the townsfolk. The legendary Woody Strode plays Keoma's childhood idol, who joins forces with him to save the town, even though the town has absolutely no love for them. Loaded with heavy-handed symbolism, a full Leonard Cohen score with goofy songs narrating the action that are sung by a caterwauling hippie chick, and a threadbare budget, somehow it all just falls together to make an atmospheric, elegiac film that sent the spaghetti western out on a high note.
Why are you helping us?
When you've been away so long, your memories won't let you forget the debts that have to be paid.
Don't try to help us. We're already dead.
But you're still afraid. Death hasn't changed that.
Who are you doing it for?
For myself, maybe.
Why'd you come back?
The world keeps going around and around. So you always end up in the same place.
Down, around you all, around you tears have no right to cry. The pain you see, the pain you feel, the wrong you do.
Keoma, you can't do it alone. I have to do it alone. Because I am alone.
Now you've done what you had. And even more than you could do. Stop your fighting, fight your place now. When there's you must leave. Remember.
Aren't you tired of killing?
I have to survive.
Time if you don't